Grandview Heights Planning and Administration Committee of Grandview Heights City Council. It is 6:35 on Monday, February 6th. Our only item of business is ordinance 2023-03, an ordinance to amend chapter 113.01 of the codified ordinances of the city of Grandview Heights pertaining to the posting of ordinances. This will be the third reading this evening. As we should all be aware at this point, this is changing our ordinance about the posting of council meetings, etc. The last time this was updated, it required paper posting in 5 or more public places. As we all know, technology has changed quite a bit, and this is also a rather cumbersome activity, especially considering the transitory nature of our city buildings at this period of time. So the purpose of this amendment is really just to update, allowing it to be sufficient to post these to the city's website and other means of electronic communication. I would like to point out we do have a public comment form submitted by Mr. Steve Reynolds of 1070 Virginia. His comment, and it will be read at the full meeting, is basically pointing out that not everybody has internet, and not all residents, especially the older ones, have the desire or tech savvy to see everything that way. So he wanted to highlight that. Reading our ordinance, it does still allow the city to post elsewhere. I would encourage the city to post at least one. My personal thoughts on this is that one paper copy posted to where the meeting is held, City Hall or wherever that is at the time, that maybe one paper one is posted there. I don't know that it needs to be in there as a requirement because it is allowed. But curious as to your thoughts on the amendment in general or that particular issue.
Yeah. Do you want to go first?
I have thoughts and questions, but I don't have to go first.
Thank you. My one question that I had was, has state law changed around this? I assume we're making this in alignment with whatever those potential changes were. I just wonder if there's anybody who could speak to that. And then, I think we must have been going to these 5 places. Are there regularly requests? Do people regularly come to City Hall requesting a paper copy? I was just interested in those 2 things.
Legal's reviewed this, so I don't know that there's been any changes in state law. I think it's just our code's outdated, but she can when she gets here. Just side note too that we're looking at this for BZA and Planning Commission as well. They make their own rules like council, and I think that it maybe requires those bodies to amend their own rules, but my preference at least would be to align the same practice. As far as coming in City Hall, I don't think that's a regular occurrence. We do post up there, I believe. We may post down here too now, and Leilani, you might know this. It seems reasonable to post either where the meeting is or at City Hall, and of course in our transitory state, have to maybe play that by change that as it goes, but the web posting sounds reasonable, from staff perspective.
And of course, we would be happy to accommodate any requests that somebody made to make those notices available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I will say, I'm the one who brought this to Joelle's attention. She did look to see if law has changed, and there's nothing in the law pertaining to this. It's just something we've done forever. But it did stop when the pandemic hit, and it has not started up. And I think the posting at City Hall or where the meeting is held is a reasonable request.
As far as process
Clarifying
first.
question?
Yeah.
Yeah,
If somebody needs a copy, they would come up to City Hall. It may have happened in the past, but the window, not the dispatch window, but the administrative police secretary window is staffed basically 8 to 4. So people could just ask.
service department people used to take it to the 5 locations. And even while Debbie was here, Daryl Hughes has said that it was becoming burdensome for them to do that. So they had even stopped doing that before Debbie left.
Thank you.
So, if I may, but my clarifying question is, so during the, like, the throes of the pandemic, we were not posting at all, but then have we resumed posting down here? Okay, we have. So, I mean, I philosophically, I don't love a dialing back of providing public notice, so I'll just put that out there. I would feel, I don't want it to be onerous, and I get that and the rationale. I would feel more pleased personally with City Hall and Public Library. I think also seems just like a great community gathering place. I guess I don't see as much of the need for the schools. You know, I'm interested in hearing more context about why that might be burdensome to continue with those 2 practices now that we're more post-pandemic. I don't know if I can say that, but in more normal times, I totally get it during the pandemic, but it does feel like a dialing back of our public notification to me.
What are we, I'm sorry, I guess I thought we were just getting rid of the newspaper notice.
Well, look on
No, it's
the back side of it.
I guess.
I thought this was, it's not in red line, but it's crossed out, section C,
Oh.
those 5.
Okay, so I guess I would say this has to be discussed with the library. I'm not just gonna go post on their, boards without arranging out with them. That's my only comment.
Okay.
If we want to do that as a regular practice, it is, you know, generally a place where people gather more, but, you know, it's not where the meetings are held, so.
Right.
It's,
Right, I think that can be accomplished if we find that there's like public demand for it. I don't think that there's a need to have it as a requirement in there. So, I mean, it's allowable, the requirement that, we have the requirement that it's gonna be electronically posted, and then in the section B gives that last sentence, the city may elect to also post copies elsewhere, such as on a bulletin board at the city's principal business address. So there's nothing that prohibits it by any means, but I'm not sure that I wanna put a requirement in there that it's, I mean, if we, I don't have a problem with making it a requirement to be at the city's principal business address, that there's a paper copy there. I would agree with the mayor's comment that to require it to be at the library.
But we did historically.
Right.
That's what this tells me here. And for me, it's, okay, one perspective is there's a public demand for it. Another perspective is we're making local government more accessible to our community members by putting something out there that might spur people to stumble upon it and actually read and engage in ways that they don't now, because it's convenient and easy and more accessible.
historically, we didn't have the internet, though. That's, I guess, my perspective on this, is now we have a website that is always reflecting these meetings, and it's always on 311 when the meetings are
That's
noticed. And if you opt into 311, you will get them pushed. If you want to know when they are, you can push yourself to the website. So I guess I understand what you're saying, but I think that, you know, times have changed too from.
Right.
This mentions other means of communication offered, so is that, our kind of growing together?
311.
It's
The app.
311, okay, the 311,
Yes, and if you guys aren't opted into this, you should be.
Yeah.
But, you know, I got a notice, they come out concurrently with Leilani posting them. And then they're also concurrently on the website with the agenda.
So we have currently then the electronic means are the 311 app, the website,
Yep.
and then I guess the other thing I'm hearing is that the city hall would continue as a practice, but not be required. That's, I guess, what's the administration's recommendation, or is this more recommendation? So, sorry, this is sponsored by, well, you, Chair Hatzidinos. I guess I'm looking at, to understand the recommendation is coming from, sounds like Clerk and city attorney and the administration? sort
I
of?
think it's coming from just to make our code align with current practices.
Our practices.
That this is the way that they've been doing it for quite some time, and
Mhm.
you know, there's lots of resources involved. So you're printing off all that paper, you've got
Mhm.
service department employees going to 5 different places and posting it, then you've
Yeah.
gotta have somebody go take it down and put up the next one. I do think that it's very reasonable to have it at the principal place of business, I think that's absolutely
Mhm.
should make sense, but this isn't just meeting notices, this is also, statements, orders, proclamations, resolutions, and, you know, I don't think you wanna have a 5-page document.
Yeah, I see that point there, so that all of those things aren't required to be posted. in
And
paper
certainly if there's
copy.
public demand for it or a request from the library, I'm sure that there's something that can be coordinated, and that's why I'm comfortable with it, because it doesn't prohibit it, it's allowable. You can do it if you want to, there's nothing that says you can't post more or physical things, it's just not a requirement. So I'm comfortable with the way it reads.
We
Okay.
invested in 311 for partially this reason. We spend staff resources to keep that up, and to me, that satisfies the concern. I have no problem putting it at the city hall if you don't require that, or, you know, wherever the meeting will be held. I think that's going to be in flux a little bit in the next few years.
Is there a way where we could make it so that we post the agenda for city council, like notice of meetings, I guess, which would be agenda
That is.
at city hall, right? Yeah. But, so I'm saying requiring that at our city hall, but not all of these other documents, which seems less,
Isn't that-
one seems more reasonable than the other to me.
Isn't that what you're doing though, is posting the agenda?
Yes, the agenda is posted, not all the other things.
Right.
Here at this building,
I don't know if it's posted here.
Old City Hall. Okay.
Can I, oh, sorry, I'm not on your committee, but go ahead, since you are.
Go ahead.
So I do know of older people who don't use the internet at all, like Terry's mom doesn't have an email account, she never uses the internet, and she has a smartphone but doesn't know how to use it, and I have people in my family who are like that, so I think a hard copy would be nice, and maybe, I would just worry about if you didn't require at least one, that then people would just stop doing it. I don't know, I kinda like the idea of requiring one, but, one thing in my library report tonight, that was on their website is they're offering on the second floor, since it's tax season coming up, that you can go to the second floor. They have a computer there where you can download and print off tax forms. I wonder if they could put a sign up there that said, like, for our council forms, that they would have a sign that said, if you'd like the current city council agenda.
You're the library
I'm the
liaison,
library-
right? Yeah, I can reach out to
I
Kayla
can
and
ask
take
them to
care
do
of
that.
Councilmember Houston, do you want to propose an amendment to require one paper copy posted at the principal place
Sure.
of business?
I mean, if other committee members are supportive of that.
Yeah, I mean, to Councilmember Kozak's point and to your point as well, it's, providing access to folks who don't have access to the internet or utilize it would be helpful. I think that providing that it's somewhere that's under the city's purview makes sense. The schools and libraries obviously are civic places, but this is a place where we could provide those things that are at the place where our staff are. So I would support that. I agree. I think that high 90s% of folks who are engaging with us are engaging through the electronic formats. I think it's a nice compromise.
So if we had, well, I can talk to city attorney about good language, but something like the city shall post notices of meetings at city hall. Something very simple.
Something like at the end of section A, we could just add a sentence at the very end, the
Mhm.
city shall post one physical notice at the city's principal place of business. she could help us with that, but
Yeah.
something.
Okay.
So with that proposed addition, are we comfortable recommending approval?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic. What, in the full meeting, will seek assistance from the floor from Attorney Zan, add that sentence,
Mhm.
propose that amendment, vote on that, and then recommend.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? The meeting is adjourned.